Hello everyone, this is Jimmy Cultist. This time we're going to be doing a tutorial on simple swimming and how to easily achieve it. Now to start at the very beginning, we're going to take out a microchip, which you can find in the logic and processing section. Take out the microchip, and you can change it to look like whatever you want. Make it whatever color you need. We're going to label it Swim. It's going to contain all of our simple swim logic. To clarify, we're talking about swimming on a two-dimensional plane, as opposed to three-dimensional swimming like you see in games like Mario and whatnot. So this is just basically a surface swim, like if you want to ford a river but you don't want to dive under the water. So let's get started. Go to Sensors and Input and take out a trigger zone. Set it to Label and make a nice little square here. We're going to shrink it down and put it at this fellow's feet. Oops. Make it kind of small. And we'll lower it a bit. Now you can set it to detect whatever label you prefer. We're going to go with Machine. That's the one I prefer to use for swimming. Next, we're going to take out Logic and Processing, go here, take out a node, and hook up the zone. Now I've taken the forethought to make this water right here, but we're going to go ahead and hide the water for the moment, so that we can go to another part of this video. Now if you're going to create this kind of swim effect, you'll need some invisible but collidable material labeled Machine. I'm going to size it up just a little bit. The exact height that we'll need is something we're going to have to test, but for now we're going to make it roughly on this level, and we're going to group it all just for convenience when we have to alter the height. Now that that's all done, let's move on to the second part. We're going to take out a little keyframe right here. And all we're going to do is shut off poses. Make it nice and blue so we know it's associated with swimming. Put it right there. Then we're going to take a little emitter. Going to connect the zone to the keyframe and to the emitter. Now that I think about it, later on that's going to be necessary. I've already made the effects for this swimming, the splashes and the ripples, so we won't be covering that in this particular video. However, if you're interested in seeing a video specifically on how to make splashes and ripples, we can cover that in another video. But for now, it's just going to be this. Set the lifetime, that's how long it will exist within the scene, to 1. We might need it to be longer, but we'll see. And also, you're going to want to set this this ripple. Set the opacity, connect the trigger zone to the ripple. To the opacity of the ripple, I should say. And now, we're going to work on an idle swim animation. Hopefully this won't take us that long. I don't think it will. Now you're not going to see his feet, so his feet are not excessively important. We're going to lift him up just a little bit and lift his feet off the ground so that he doesn't collide underwater. With the floor, you see. Lower him a bit, raise up the arms. A little bit higher. Take these keyframes, set them to linear blend. There's other ways to do this, but this is just my preferred method. Alright, now we'll see how this idle swim animation looks. I'm going to set the timeline to loop. That's not too bad. As I said, you're not really going to see his feet unless you want to make transparent water, but that's another subject entirely. It's a decent idle swim animation. Now, we're going to move on to the third part of our video. Pull this node out right here. Maybe pull it down so you don't get it confused with that wire that leads to the opacity. And we're going to take out another node. Just go ahead and copy that. And we're going to make a swim animation for when he's swimming forward. Swim animation. All right. We might just use the first frame as a basis for his height in the water. Alright. For this one, we're going to be doing something a bit different. His feet might be a little bit more visible this time. Okay. Now that that's done, we're gonna put him in his first pose. Lift this arm up like that. Get this one ready like this. Check the first keyframe to see where we're at. Alright, I think we maybe have got it all figured out. Let's see how this runs. Set it to loop, of course. Going to take off the movement on his groinular area in favor of using a separate keyframe, which may take a little extra thermo, but I would prefer to do it that way. So, just go ahead and set that like that. Set it up. It's a bit weird, a bit flaily, but I don't think we need a perfect swim animation just to show off exactly how we're going to be doing this method. Kind of an odd character we're working with anyway. Maybe he swims like this. Anyhow, now that that's done, we're going to move on to another facet of our little tutorial. I'm going to take a keyframe, lengthen it out, make it whatever color you want. What this keyframe is going to do is while this is active, it's going to shut off the idle animation, which if you just open this up with, what is it again, R1 and square, you can easily access this node's power and all these settings here. So just go ahead and do that, turn off the power. And now we're going to be setting up something else. We want it so that only when you're moving very fast do you actually activate the swim animation. So let's take out a node, go to this little doohickey here, it's in jump animations. We want jump animations because our poses are going to be shut off. We go down here, go to running strength, stick that in there, stick this in the power node of this, and that should be it for this particular section. Now we'll move on to the fourth part. As always, we're going to be duping out another node and connecting the power to it. This part should be a lot simpler. Basically what we're working with is if you want that effect where a character is, shall we say, wet, you know, when they jump in the water and they're wet for a time until it dries off. This is an easy way to create that without much difficulty. Now I've taken the liberty of already preparing the wetness effects, which can be achieved quite simply by just scoping in and altering the shininess to 0%, or I should say the roughness, which will make the character shiny as if they are wet. I'm just going to go ahead and stick that on here. Turn the power on, I think. Why isn't it on? I guess it is on. Now the exact length of this timeline and how long you want him to remain wet is up to your own discretion. But we're going to take this little thing here, adjust the fade out so that he has kind of a gradual decline in wetness when he dries out. We're going to take this little baby here, what's called a switch. You can find it in the sensors and input section. And you're going to connect that to the restart time on this timeline. So basically what this is going to do is, as long as you're in the water, this timeline is going to endlessly restart. But when you leave the water, since it's set to play once, it'll just automatically gradually go to the end and only play once and you'll dry out. So, simple way to also create a loop and have it play once when you're out of the water. So, trying to think if there's anything else that we need to do. I think we're ready. There might be some splash animations that we can add to our swim. But I want to do those once I've corrected the height of the water. For now, let's give it a test and see if it all works as it should. Alright, something clearly is not working. I think I know what it is, though. Always remember to set your trigger zone to detect both invisible and non-visible material. Or visible and non-visible, I should say. Set it to detect both. Now it should work as intended. Okay, still not working. What could be the problem this time? Perhaps it's not low enough. Let's set it a little bit lower so that it detects properly. Alright, now it's working as it should. And now we have the proper level of the water. A little lower. some reason the ripple's not exactly working as intended. Just connected to the power instead of the opacity. There. Now let's give him a little move around the pool just to see if he works properly. And he's a little bit too high, I think. Should be lower. Luckily, this is not impossible to correct. Just go to the swim animation. All we have to do is simply lower him a bit. I'm glad I made this a separate animation so that it would be easier to correct this little flaw in our logic. Okay. Let's try it out now. I think it should be faster. He's swimming a bit too slow. Let's take it up to 155 on the playback speed. That's better. Now, as I said, the animation is something that's up to your discretion. I think this one's a little bit clunky and it needs a bit more time, but I don't want to waste valuable time in the video for just, you know, tweaking an animation. So let's not get too carried away with that. Let's just go ahead and take this splash for the arms and insert it in here. Gonna take out an emitter, set it to emit once. Now the exact lifetime of these emits is, again, something that will be different depending on what kind of effect you're using and how long it exists, but we're going to try this. We're going to try to get it to match up with his hands. Now, what the heck is going on there? That's absurd. Let's correct this real quick. I think that something with his feet might be interfering with the upper animation, which might explain why he looks so strange. So let's go ahead and take that off. Take this forward a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and remove these. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and make him swim. Now we're going to want splashes every time he puts his arms in the water, so we're going to try to sync that up if possible. Alright, we're going to need one right there on on his left side. I don't even see us over here. Gonna need another one right there. So we got that roughly on point. Just keep on going through the animation, and we're gonna need... yeah, that's gonna work. Another thing to keep in mind is because of his velocity, these splashes are going to be a little bit out of sync with his movement, so we're going to have to set them ahead of his body to some degree, so that they sync up with his movements a little better. And perhaps not that far ahead, just a little bit further back. Let's try there. And here. Alright, let's see if this works. That's better. Bit violent, perhaps, for his casual movement. Let's slow those splashes down just a touch. You can go in here and just tweak the playback speed. Let's set it down to 1,800. See if that maybe gets some better results. Yeah, that's a bit better, a little more casual. Anyway, that's how you make a simple swim animation. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to check out our other content, feel free to do so and ring the notification bell so you never miss a video. And of course, if you wish to support us, there's a link in the description to our art pal and our coffee. Oh, and one other thing, a new announcement. Perhaps not so important, but just in case you're interested. I am now on Twitter, and I can be found under Jimmy Cultist, no underscores, no space, capital J, capital C, if you're interested. But in the meantime, goodbye.